Kathy Altman wanted to be a doctor so she could help women. After receiving her license, she took a job at a Florida women's clinic to perform abortions.
There was no question in my mind that a woman should have the right to choose whether she wanted to be pregnant or not. And that was the most important thing. I didn't consider the fetus in the equation at all.
Altman went on to become director of a local Planned Parenthood, where she says examining the parts of aborted babies fascinated her.
I was looking at it completely from a scientific standpoint, totally devoid of any emotion. And it was amazing. And I used to send the different parts down to pathology. And then on our pathology rotation, we would look at those slides, and it fascinated me.
She even performed abortions while pregnant.
I didn't see any problem with that. My baby was wanted, their baby wasn't. It didn't seem to bother the women that I was aborting. But yeah, I saw no contradiction in that, no problem with it.
Dr. Altman said the only time she had qualms about what she was doing was when she worked in the intensive care unit for newborns.
That's where Altman found herself trying to save babies who were the same age as those she killed, thoughts she quickly dismissed.
If she wanted the baby, then I did everything I could to give her a happy, healthy baby. If she miscarried, I would be distraught with her and upset about losing that baby.
After having her first child, the doctor came face to face with 3 cases that changed her thinking. One involved a young girl who had 3 abortions, all performed by Altman.
She was basically using abortion as her birth control. I went to the clinic manager and I said, I don't want to do this. She's just using abortion as birth control. And they said, I didn't have the right to make that decision. It wasn't a judgment that I should be making, and I needed to do the procedure.
During our interview, she carefully explained 2 other scenarios that made her see things differently.
The next woman came in with a girlfriend, and the girlfriend asked her, do you want to see the tissue? And she snapped at her and just said in a really angry voice, I don't want to look at it, I just want to kill it. And I thought, what has this baby ever done to you? And then the third woman was a woman who had 4 children, and she and her husband didn't feel they could afford another. And she cried the entire time. I think the callousness and hostility of the first 2 compared to the sorrow and the devastation of the third woman, I think that comparison made me understand that just because the child wasn't wanted, that was no longer justification enough for me to do the procedure.
In 1983, after attending a church service and a private meeting with the pastor, Altman became a Christian.
I just was confused, just a lot of confusion. A lot of confusion. And I didn't even believe that Jesus as a physical person walked on the earth at that point. And he gave me Josh McDowell's Evidence That Demands a Verdict. And it was through reading that book that I finally realized that, yes, he was a real person. And then he gave me Mere Christianity. It was that point that I finally understood who Jesus was. And at that point, really, I committed my life to him. And then he just started the long, hard work of transforming me.
Part of that transformation included no longer doing abortions. Still, Altman held on to her belief that a woman had the right to terminate an unwanted pregnancy. 2 years later, after reading an article comparing abortion with the Nazi Holocaust, she saw herself as a mass murderer.
I probably murdered more people than Ted Bundy or any of the mass murderers, if you consider all the abortions that I did.
Forgetting that dark past was not easy.
It's one of the most wonderful things for an OBGYN to meet a child they delivered or that child's child. That is such a joy. But it's bittersweet because I think about all the people that I will never meet because I aborted them.
After talking with a Christian counselor, Altman received much needed peace and healing.
We're very blessed to have the McNutt Christian Healing Center here in Jacksonville. And so I went up there, and a wonderful woman by the name of Norma Deering counseled me and basically sat down with me and just started praying with me and speaking in tongues. And as soon as she started, I just started crying and literally cried my eyes out. I could not stop crying. And during that time, in my mind, I could see Jesus' gown and his feet. And I was at his feet crying, and he said to me, "Are you more powerful than I am? Are you more important than I am? Are you stronger than I am? That I can forgive you, but you cannot forgive yourself." At that point, I understood that he had forgiven me and that I needed to forgive myself. And that was where I really had my healing.
Limbs and organs.
Altman is now retired and has dedicated the remainder of her life to fighting for the unborn. As a board-certified OBGYN and a fellow of the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, she recently urged lawmakers to pass the Heartbeat Protection Act, a measure that would ban abortions at 6 weeks of pregnancy after an unborn baby's heartbeat is detected.
I support the Heartbeat Protection Act because it uses the heartbeat, a very concrete sign of life that people can identify with, to define when the fetus should be protected.
She is grateful every day for the opportunity to speak for those she once silenced.
I don't know that I can put it into words. I'm just thankful every day that we have a Savior, that he does forgive us, and that he can take what the locusts have destroyed and restore it. I'm so thankful that he's using me to save babies now, when once I used to kill them, and that's very healing and restorative in itself.
Charlene Aaron, CBN News, Jacksonville, Florida.